All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Before adopting the agenda, Stefan, did you want to add something, you said? You go. Okay. So motion to adopt the agenda is in order.
I move we adopt the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Hill,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Thibault. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 2B, are there any items on the agenda that could put you in a conflict of interest?
No.
Hearing none, we'll go to 3, presentations. We have no presentations tonight. We'll go to 4, adoption of the minutes. 4.1, April 15, 2020, regular council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions?
I move
to adopt the minutes.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Hill. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 4.2, May 6, 2020, council and committee meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? If not, a motion to adopt the minutes is in order.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Councillor Como,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Hill. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 5, business arising from previous council minutes. 5.1, Derelict School Wharf update.
Thank you. As you know, the billable school wharf, the North Wharf, or which is essentially serving as a breakwater, suffered extensive damage over the last winter. We were on site a number of times, and it's quite obvious that the damage to the structure is substantial, as you know. The insurance company, since the incident, has been dealing with B&G Lombard to essentially to assess the level of damage and to come up with a plan for its repair. According to the contractor, the breakwater won't survive another winter in its current state. We're in the process right now of working with the various departments to get the needed permits. So basically DFO, DNR, and Transport Canada through their Navigable Waters Act. In order to fast track those permits as best we can, we're stressing the urgency of the matter, because if we lose that breakwater, then the damage to the main road and various structures along the main road, including private sector businesses, residences, our sewer treatment plant, etc. So in speaking to the claims adjuster last week, he did call me to say good news that the insurance company is prepared to cover the damages to the wharf. What they consider to be eligible is the damage to the exterior side of the northern wharf, the one that faces the bay, as well as the end of the wharf. They're also treating as eligible some damages to the southern wharf, which is the one nearest to the park, which also did sustain damage during last winter's storm. Also considered eligible are the necessary repairs to the lighthouse, as well as the replacement cost for the benches that were lost or destroyed during the storm. So they are covering those costs in their entirety. One thing they are not covering, because the contractor agreed that it was essentially a pre-existing condition, is the interior side of the wharf, the North Wharf, or the breakwater. That side is damaged as well, but the damage wasn't a result necessarily of the storm itself, but more so a deteriorating situation that's worsening over time. So because of that, the insurance company is not able to cover that portion. But just to give you a bit of numbers, the repairs to the breakwater, the northern wharf, so the side facing the bay, as well as the cone of of the breakwater is $297,500. The southern wharf, the estimate for those repairs are $12,700. So that the total of just those two numbers are $310,200. And again, the insurance company is covering that number in its entirety, or 100% of those costs. The estimate to fix the inside or the interior side of the breakwater has been estimated at $96,625. So that would be the responsibility of the municipality to cover those costs. A few weeks ago, the province released a new program called the Flood Risk Infrastructure Investment Program. And basically it's to look at projects that would help mitigate risks of flooding, especially in zones which are considered high risk. So in speaking to the province this week, I outlined the situation that we were faced with regarding Belleville, and they confirmed that this project, or specifically that $96,000 that we would be responsible for, would be considered eligible under that program. So that program would allow the province to cover 50% of those costs, so which would reduce the obligation to the municipality from $96,625 to $48,312. So if we're looking at the overall project, not including the lighthouse and the benches, we're looking at $48,312 as our total contribution, or roughly 12% of the cost, if the province does accept our application. The deadline to submit the application is next Monday, the 25th. And I would say at this point, I'm probably halfway through the application. So I see no problems in getting it in on time. That being said, in order to continue moving this file forward, I have two motions that I'd like to propose to council this evening for your consideration. The first is the need to apply from a motion from council to apply to the province's flood risk infrastructure investment program. The program's criteria states quite clearly that along with the application form, we have to have a motion or a resolution from council authorizing the application. So that would be the first motion that I would hope council would consider this evening. The second is one that's basically driven by the urgency of getting this project dealt with as quickly as possible, and that would be a motion to award the contract for the repairs of the wharf to B&G Lombard Limited. A number of factors come into play. Again, the urgency is probably first and foremost, because we need to get this work done this summer, or at the very latest this fall. If we're in a situation where we have to tender the project, then we have to engage engineering services to develop specs for the work, then follow a public procurement process. So we risk really closing the window of opportunity we have to complete the work in this calendar year. Obviously, B&G Lombard have been working with both the municipality and with the insurance company since the onset. We're looking at, breakwaters. We're looking at a fairly specialized skill set, and obviously B&G Lombard have quite a bit of experience in this field. The insurance company has already essentially approved their design for the repair work and approved their price quote as well. Not very many. Actually, to my knowledge, we have no local contractors capable of handling rocks the size that we need for this breakwater. And I did look under our procurement policy, and especially in Appendix 1 under alternative procurement practices, and we have two of those clauses which would apply to this case here, which would allow us to award the contract to B&G Lombard. The first, again, is the urgency, and secondly, is the limited or number of contractors able to do this work. So basically, based on the urgency argument alone, I don't think we can, if we have to follow a public procurement process, I don't think we can get the work completed on time, and frankly, that's not an option, given what we know about the state of the infrastructure. So those would be the two motions that I would ask council to consider this evening.
So the first motion would be the submission for the project.
Yes.
So, is there
I'm
any
prepared to
council?
make the motion. Is that for the flood risk infrastructure program?
Yes.
Yeah, and to be clear, that's just for the interior portion of the overall project.
I'll make that motion to submit a submission for the flood risk infrastructure program.
I'll second it. I'll second that motion, Brian.
So, Brian, you're making the motion. Do you have it there to read it, or you don't have it with you?
No, well, is it in the motions that were sent to us today?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, if somebody has it in front of them, maybe they could. I have the motions on my documents. I just didn't open them up.
So,
Well, I have the motions. I can open
if
them
you
up right
have
here.
it, you can read it. I know it's
Okay,
complicated
I
online.
have the motion here. I have the motion here.
Yeah.
It's not the first one, is it?
It's the second one.
Second one.
Well, the first one here says to award the in the amount of municipality district of Clare. Okay, I got it here. So I move that the municipality of the district of Clare submit the Belleville Cove Breakwater project proposal in the amount of $96,625 plus HST for funding consideration to the Nova Scotia Flood Risk Infrastructure Investment Program.
So I believe Councillor Suprapha Dusa seconded that motion. So
Yes.
are there any discussions on the motion? Ready for the question?
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 All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Motion carried. So we'll go to the second motion. Is anyone prepared to make that motion?
I can make that motion.
Councillor Doe?
I move that the municipality of the District of Clare award a tender for the emergency repairs to the Belleville Cove Breakwater and Wharf to BNG Lombard Limited in the amount of $406,825 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve.
Is there a seconder for that motion?
I'll second the motion.
There's a lot of seconders at the same time. I'm not sure. I'll defer to Deputy Warden. It's in his district, I guess. So seconded by Deputy Warden Dusa. Any discussion on the motion?
Just a bit of clarification, the 406, is that the money from the insurance that we're paying 406 and we're getting the insurance money back?
The 406 is the total cost to repair the breakwater and the wharf. So that represents the amount of work that would be done by B&G Lombard. The insurance's portion for that repair work is $310,200. So they would essentially cut us a check for that repair work. And if we do receive some funding from the province, it would essentially be that we would submit a claim to the province with paid invoices to get reimbursed for those expenses as well. So at the end of the day, it should net out to a cost to the municipality of just over $48,000.
Just clarification, I'm good.
Ready for the question?
Question?
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay.
Aye.
Motion carried. So next we'll go to the warden's report. It's written in French, I'll have to translate it, which is not easy for me, but the 22nd of April, I attended or assisted in a teleconference with the NSFM. There's one almost every Wednesday to talk about various issues related to COVID-19. On April 23rd, I was asked to go do a little interview on CFA to discuss the municipal budget. The 28th of April, again, another NSFM teleconference related to COVID-19. On April 29th, I had a teleconference meeting with Gordon Wilson, Mayor Ben Cleveland, Warden Jimmy McAlpine, and a few other people from Digby to discuss doctor recruitment in the Digby County area, essentially, to see if there was any way that we could work together to maybe have a more regional approach. Nothing really came out of it other than we'd have more discussions, but I'll keep you posted on that. On the 30th of April, I had a call from son honneur, the Lieutenant Governor Arthur Ray-Leblanc, he just wanted to discuss how Clare was doing in the midst of the pandemic and get a sense of, he was calling a lot of municipalities to see how they were making out. On the 1st of May, had a call from the NDP leader, Gary Burrell, essentially for the same topic, just to see how the municipality was doing in the pandemic, how the economy was faring, and where we saw where there'd be difficulties and where, if there was any places in Clare that seemed to be doing okay. It was a good conversation. The 12th of May, I had a teleconference meeting of the Bureau de Direction de University Saint-Anne, and on the 13th of May, I had a teleconference meeting with the mise en nomination, the nomination of new members to the Council of Governors at University Saint-Anne. So that's my report, if there's any questions. If not, we'll go to official statements by members of council. Are there any official statements? We'll move to 8, correspondence, 8.1, la Guilde acadienne de Clare.
Merci beaucoup. Au nom de tous les membres de la Guilde acadienne, je continue à exprimer notre sincère gratitude à la municipalité pour tout le soutien que nous avons reçu au cours des 9 années où nous avons été actifs. Nous sommes impatients de continuer d'honorer notre mandat de maintenir l'ordre de la Courte-Pointe en vie dans notre communauté acadienne dès que les restrictions seront levées. Merci à toi et à tous les conseillers municipaux de servir et de rester en sécurité. Joan Toss.
So essentially, just a thank you letter for the grant that we gave the Guild through grants organization. Any questions or comments? If not, we'll go to 8.2, the Honorable Gordon Wilson, Minister of the Environment.
And this letter is addressed to Leland Anthony, his capacity as chair of Waste Check. Thank you for your letters of April 27, 2020 on behalf of Region 7 and the municipality of the District of Yarmouth regarding impact of the COVID-19 outbreak upon the provision of solid waste services. The information you provided was helpful and I appreciate your attention to this matter. I have recently issued several variances to the landfill disposal bans for blue bag materials where it was determined there was no immediate options to store or process this material for further marketing purposes. I understand that Scotia Recycling in Kenville continues to process blue bag material and you are requesting variances as a contingency against future disruption. I am not prepared to issue variances for contingency purposes at this time. However, please keep me informed should operations change due to COVID-19. Sincerely, the Honorable Gordon Wilson, Minister of Environment.
Any questions or comments? Now we'll go to 8.3, the Honorable Chuck Porter, Minister, Municipal Affairs and Housing.
And again, this letter was addressed to Mayor Mood in her capacity as President of Nova Scotia Municipalities, Federation of Municipalities, and to all municipalities throughout the province. Dear Mayor Mood, thank you for your letter dated April 7, 2020 on behalf of the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities Board regarding your concerns about the impact of COVID-19 on municipal and CSAP elections in October. I understand the financial and operational pressures that municipalities are facing in Nova Scotia and across Canada as a result of the pandemic. I appreciate the work that all municipalities are doing to protect the health and safety of Nova Scotians and to reduce the spread of COVID-19 in our communities. As you are aware, the province of Nova Scotia is under a state of emergency, and there are a number of public health orders in effect in an effort to minimize the impact of the pandemic. We are making progress in our goal to flatten the curve. However, we will continue to monitor the situation to determine how long we will need to remain in the state of emergency. I want to assure you that we examined your request to postpone the October 2020 election carefully. As Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, I can confirm for you we will be holding the municipal elections in October of 2020. Because the situation continues to be unpredictable, I encourage municipalities to continue their preparations for an October election with the current public health protocols in mind, specifically the requirements around social distancing. With the tools and flexibility provided in the Municipal Elections Act, I am confident municipalities can hold safe and democratic elections that conform with public health directives if necessary. Minister Porter goes on to outline a number of measures that may be implemented to hold the election safely. And he invites ongoing discussions with the department on this subject.
Any questions or comments?
I would have a question. Well, yeah, a question, I guess. So is he saying that we will not be permitted to go house to house, or is that still going to be like?
He's not necessarily. No, there hasn't been. Basically, they'll be following the health directives as issued by Dr. Strang and the province, but there's been no specifics in his letter as to how individuals can campaign.
Okay.
But the underlying theme or the underlying message is there is that they do recognize that it is a challenge, but that first and foremost, I think that the provincial directives around health and safety, social distancing, and so on would have to be adhered to.
Right. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? We'll go to 8.4, Wayne Gada, President, Clare Health Center Foundation.
Dear Stéphane, Municipalité de Clare, COVID-19 is impacting us all. It is changing how we work, live, and interact with each other. Social distancing is now the norm. The Clare Health Center Foundation, along with Billable Motors Limited, have made the difficult decision to postpone this year's golf tournament planned for July 31st, 2020, as we want to keep everyone safe and healthy. We want to thank you for your support over the last 25 years, and we will be reaching out to you again in 2021. We are already looking forward to 2021 for your continued support. The Clare Health Center Foundation and Billable Motors, thank you again. Sincerely, Wayne Godet, President, Clare Health Foundation.
Any questions or comments? We'll go to 8.5, the Honorable Zach Churchill, Minister of Education and Early Childhood Development.
Dear Mr. LeBlanc, I'm responding to your letter of March 27, 2020 regarding training for the use of automated external defibrillators in schools. The Department of Education and Early Childhood Development has had many discussions with stakeholders on the importance and availability of AEDs in our schools. We agree that these are important life-saving devices that benefit all Nova Scotians. I had the pleasure of meeting with cardiologists and our representatives from the Health and Stroke Foundation to discuss this issue. I have asked department staff to look into ways to enhance access and training for AEDs. Within the school system, there are formal opportunities for students to become familiar with AEDs through our options and opportunities and cooperative education programs. And we encourage opportunities for all students to become familiarized with AEDs in all our schools. The department also ensures that where students or staff require an AED on site due to medical issues, the school has an AED in the building and has provided instruction to individuals for its use. One of the advantages of AEDs is the ability for anyone, regardless of if they have been trained or not, to use them. As you know, they include visual and voice prompts and will only deliver a shock if the heart is in a rhythm, which can be corrected by defibrillation. Emergency Health Services and the Heart and Stroke Foundation provide free online training videos on how to use an AED. Thank you for sharing your ideas on AEDs in our school and for your schools and for your interest in this important life-saving device. I hope this information was helpful. Sincerely, Zach Churchill, Minister of Education and Early Childhood Development.
Any questions or comments? We'll go to 8.6, Dr. Harold Cook, Chair, Yarmouth Hospital Foundation.
Dear Warden LeBlanc, during these difficult weeks of dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, we all face some level of challenge, whether concerns about our health or finances, having to be separated from each other, or the uncertainty around what lies ahead. Through it all, however, you can be assured that your Yarmouth Hospital Foundation is doing its part, not only reassuring hospital leaders and our firm commitment to already budgeted new equipment, but also our intent to raise money to meet COVID-19 related needs. As most of our community is now aware, 2 annual Yarmouth Health Foundation fundraising events for 2020, the Spring Gala and the Jody Shelley Golf for Health Tournament, had to be canceled, resulting in a loss of donations directed to hospital equipment purchases in excess of $100,000. That means that the Yarmouth Health Foundation executive and board must find other ways to meet commitments made already that will or might be essential to treat COVID-19 patients. Included are a portable digital X-ray machine, a portable ultrasound used to monitor lung capacity, 2 types of ventilators, stretchers, and simulators for healthcare worker training and practice. Also, the hospital has recently requested additional support for COVID-19 related items totaling approximately $50,000. This includes vitally important extra stethoscopes to avoid room-to-room contamination, more electronic blood pressure and vitals monitors, and iPads for more efficient communication among healthcare workers. We fully understand that dramatic economic changes may affect your normal generous commitments and donations. However, if your circumstances allow, please consider sending a contribution now to help us meet these important hospital needs. If you or your company has sponsored or participated in the Spring Gala or Summer Golf events, could you continue fulfilling your planned contribution towards these 2 Health Foundation events? It is encouraging that some regular primary sponsors of these events have agreed to or are considering maintaining their initial commitment. Others have said they will donate the equivalent of their ticket price for the gala or golf tournament fee. Can you also consider doing the same? Despite the effects on our individual finances, most of us can at least stay home to protect our health. Our hospital workers can't. Please join us in saying thank you by giving them what they need to keep us and themselves safe. Sincere good wishes to you and your families as we face this challenge together. Dr. Harold Cook, Chair, Yarmouth Hospital Foundation.
So I don't know if you want to treat the request tonight or bring it to Committee of Council for further discussion.
Is it something that we usually budget for every year, or is it not budgeted for? Like,
our budget right now contains an annual contribution to the Yarmouth Health Foundation of $5,000, which we usually contribute every year when they try to fundraise for equipment. Our participation in the Spring Gala, which is usually the purchase of a table for council, as well as the volunteer of the year, which we usually invite, is in the past years has been roughly $1,200. That's not something that's specifically budgeted for, but it's taken out of miscellaneous expenses or special events usually.
okay.
I think we should continue to support them. They need the equipment, and they always continue to need it, and we've always supported them. I think we should continue.
I agree. If since it's already budgeted for, and I think we should I'd be prepared to I mean, if they want to speak, if council wants to bring it to next meeting, it's fine, but I'm like Councillor Tomo, I'm all for it.
So, Councillor Como, are you making a motion of the provide 1,200?
Yes, I make the motion that we support the foundation for 1,200, as we've always done in the past years.
Councillor DeVoe?
I'd like to second that, yes.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. So we'll go to 9, Chief Administrative Officer reports. Mr. C.
Thank you. Just a quick overview on a couple of active projects files. First of all, rural internet. In terms of progress to date, as you know, the planning for the first 3 phases of the project is complete and has been approved by both Bell and Nova Scotia Power. These phases include Route 1 from the cultural hub in Comoville to St. Bernard, all of New Weddingburg, as well as the 340 from St. Bernard up to Hassett. Tree trimming is currently underway along that route at various spots, as is work being carried out by Vista Care for laying out strand. You may also be seeing some trucks from Comrand in the municipality as well, and these are subcontractors for Nova Scotia Power, so they are looking at poles and other infrastructure as well, all part of the make-ready process for this project. A press release is in the works at the moment. We hope to be able to issue it next week, if not the following week at the latest. That's being developed by ourselves in conjunction with Mainland. And also, if you do go to the Mainland website, the Mainland Telecom, you'll see they've redesigned their website, and there is a section devoted exclusively to the Clare project. So residents can go see the map, what's the route that, or where's the fiber been laid out, what's the proposed route for the first 3 phases at this point. There's also an ability to reach out to directly to Mainland via email with any questions or to express interest in receiving their service. So that's a positive development there. There are other discussions to be had on this file, but given the nature of the information, I would prefer having those in camera. With regards to the Grand Fondo, as you know, our ability to safely host this year's Fondo remains in doubt. We continue to liaise with Events Nova Scotia regarding changes to provincial guidelines and restrictions for large gatherings. As a member of the Events Nova Scotia Advisory Committee, our tourism manager, Larry Peach, will be on a call with Dr. Strang later this week to discuss this and other large events throughout the province. We've learned today that the TI Grand Fondo, which is scheduled in August, has canceled. Our organizing committee here, in order to prepare for that possibility, has tentatively started preparing a cancellation message for 2020, which will be shared with participants and the community at large. As it stands now, we have 196 people that are registered. So the earliest possible notice we would be communicating would be May 25th, so Monday of next week. But we'll inform you as we know more. A while ago, I promised you a quick update on the capacity assessment for the Meteghan wastewater treatment plant. At the time, it was to discuss the possibility of a new school, but also the construction of a new home in the municipality of Clare. We wanted to assess whether or not we had the capacity at our wastewater treatment plant to handle that new demand. So basically, based on the flow that we monitored in 2019, the Meteghan wastewater treatment plant can process an additional 280 cubic meters of wastewater per day. So the additional flow rate that would be generated by the inclusion of 2 schools, so this is assuming the high school would connect and at the time we were assuming possibly a new elementary school as well. And those two connecting would generate an incremental 36 cubic meters per day, 34, sorry. In addition to that, if we looked at the construction of a new nursing home with, taking into account resident and staff levels, while maintaining the current villa connected to the system as well, that would generate an additional 86 cubic meters per day. So basically, the conclusion is that our wastewater treatment plant in Meteghan is capable to proceed with the new influent from these additions if they come to bear. We know the school, the elementary school, won't be connected, but the others we're hopeful that especially the new villa, the new home and the villa, will be connected. Also, the report, although it's not required at this time, the report does contain a series of recommended upgrades and or modifications to improve the overall performance of the wastewater treatment plants and the effluent quality to meet mandated guidelines. These will be explored at a future date. Again, they aren't required, certainly not for this fiscal year. The Tourism Public Spaces Project, Development and Improvement Project, is advancing. Upland has submitted a 100-page background report, including detailed site and SWOT analysis, maps, diagrams, historical and ecological descriptions for each site. The next step for the consultants will include a best practices analysis, which I believe they're currently engaged in now. We will be having stakeholder consultations once these are permitted. The exact format is not yet known. We're trying to again, engage in meaningful consultation with stakeholders, but finding a way to do it safely. And they'll also be preparing preliminary site concepts, which will be shared during these stakeholder consultations. Discussions with RAD architects regarding the Veteran Center specifically are ongoing. 4 schematic design options have been submitted and are currently being reviewed by staff, and the follow-up discussion is expected on those tomorrow. With RAD, just more a Q&A, but those will be shared with council as well at a later point. And speaking with Larry Peach earlier today, he did share that our visitor center at the Rendezvous, basically until provincial social distancing restrictions are relaxed, University of Sainte Anne has informed us that we're not permitted to operate out of the Rendezvous to that bay, with no surprise there. They have offered the fall as an alternative location in the interim, but for the time being, we've decided not to pursue this option until we see how the restrictions with COVID play out throughout the summer. A quick update on the Havelock Community Center. The work there is progressing on time and on budget. Project completion is estimated to be at the end of May or early June. In speaking with some of the users of the facility, they appear quite pleased with the work completed to date. The Welcoming Communities or Communauté Accueillante project, as I shared last time, the municipality has submitted its 3-year action plan to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. They've since signaled that the project would be delayed in light of the COVID-19. However, all indications suggest the project will be moving forward within a reduced time frame, but maintaining the same budgetary amounts. As part of the program, Amy Pallady, our communications officer, was on the call the other day with some of the project stakeholders. All chosen welcoming communities throughout the country will be participating in an ongoing consultation process that will last throughout the duration of the programs over the 3-year period, or the shortened period, I should say. Before signing with IRCC, we will be presenting the broad strokes of our action plan to the consultants overseeing the consultation process, just for their feedback. And obviously, given COVID-19 and its impacts, we may have to tweak our plan to take these circumstances into account. You may have seen Fierté Claire or Claire Pride on social media more and more in the past few days and weeks. Following the success of our Pride flag raising ceremony in May of 2019, members of the Société Acadienne de Claire, Université Sainte Anne, and the municipality formed a committee to organize the first ever Pride Week in Clare. Leanne Titus and our rec manager, and Amy Paradis, our communications officer, are representing the municipality on the committee. The mandate of the event is to show love and support from and towards the LGBTQ2 community, with a week of entertaining, informative, and inclusive programming for everyone. Last Friday, to commemorate the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia, the Fierté Claire Pride Organizing Committee unveiled their programming schedule for the event, which will run from June 8th to June 12th, entirely from their Facebook page in order to respect social distancing measures. Some of the activities include a flag-raising ceremony, an art workshop, roundtable discussion, and dance party. The municipality will play a role in the event by hosting a flag-raising ceremony at the municipal office and by organizing through our rec department an online dot painting workshop. Since launching the program schedule, it has garnered more than 2,800 views online. A promotional video launched on the same day has had more than 7,700 views online. By hosting a virtual event, the activities of Fierté Claire Pride have expanded beyond the community. The group has gathered interest from key representatives of the local French and English school systems, Pride Yarmouth, Fierté Canada Pride, CBC Radio Canada, and LGBTQ2 community members and supporters who once lived in Clare. So obviously so far, the interest in this festival appears to be quite strong, and it's tracking well on social media. So hats off to all the organizers. The derelict boat at the Commeville Wharf, not much new to report there. As you know, the boat is being dismantled. That was being dismantled. The Commeville Wharf has sunk. The owners of the boat are aware of the situation. Nova Scotia Environment has confirmed that they do not have jurisdiction over the boat. I've reached out to the Canadian Coast Guard and to DNR, Department of Natural Resources. DNR is currently looking into the matter and will be in touch. I did speak to them today, and I'm expecting further updates, but they did say technically the boat is on their land, so they are looking into the matter and will get back to us as soon as they know more. The individual leading that file, in fairness to them, was not in the office, so I spoke to someone else who helped me out the best they could. Financially, as of April 30th, 2020, the municipality has recorded $7,843,328 in revenues versus $879,443 in expenses, for a surplus of $6,963,885. Again, this is revenue recorded, it's not actually cash on hand. As of April 30th, 2020, the municipality has a balance of $869,823 in its operating fund, $94,674 in its capital fund, and a total reserve balance of $5,631,710. That $5.6 million can be broken down as follows. Our operating reserve, $855,164. Our capital reserve, $3,446,513. Our landfill closure reserve, $329,144. And finally, our gas tax reserve of $1,889,000. In terms of cash flow and our tax collections efforts to date, just for council's information, the influx of municipal tax payments to date since we've issued the tax bills has been consistent, and the municipality's position in terms of cash flow remains strong. From April 1st to May 15th, 2020, the municipality has received over $1.5 billion in total deposits. Now, that's not all property tax revenue, but a good portion of that is. This puts us slightly ahead of where we were last year at the same time, obviously before COVID-19. So as at the moment, in terms of tax collection, things are going very well, and the residents and the businesses of Clare, those who can, are stepping up and are paying their taxes. So thank you to them. That's my report.
Any questions?
I have a question for Stefan. You mentioned that the service provider, Mainland Communications, on their website the public can, just to clarify, the public can communicate with them? Can they contact them with questions, or can they just contact them if they're interested in hooking up to the internet?
They both. If you go on the mainland website and there's a section for projects, you click that, and it'll bring you to the municipality of Clare's project. So there's some information, an explanation of the project with some highlights in terms of, for example, the amount of fiber, the length of fiber being laid in the municipality, the number of households and businesses passed, the speeds available. There's a map that you can zoom in on that shows the roads, exactly where the fiber or the phases that are being laid out now, where they're passing. And as new phases are started, that map will be updated accordingly. On that same page, there's a big button, if I recall, red button that says submit form. So if you click on that, it's basically some information on yourself, your contact information, your address, emails, and so on. And then you have the opportunity either to submit a question to them in the message section, or simply express that you're interested in learning more about their service, or when it's available in your in your neighborhood, you can ask them to contact you. So it's a way for them to track information, gauge interest in the product, and as the program, as the network is built and laid out, to make sure that they're getting as many people as they can.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll go to 10 committee reports. 10.1 building permits. Councillor Hill.
The building permits, as of April 2019, there were 46 permits issued for $2.6 million of construction. And as of April 2020, there was 28 permits issued with $1.59 million of construction. So I would say the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting this like it is everything else. So hopefully you'll see it pick up in the summer.
Yeah. Any questions or comments? Not, we'll go to new business. 11.1 motion to approve the 2020-2021 volunteer fire department capital funding expenditures.
Yeah, this is basically the list that was presented at the council and committee meeting 2 weeks ago. The items here are basically taken from or what was presented by the individual fire departments as part of their 5-year capital plan. The items included here are what they requested for the current fiscal year. And these are paid for, or the funds used to pay for these purchases are taken from the 5-cent area rate, which is a uniform rate that's charged to the residents of Clare. That rate, once we've removed all debt funding obligations, there's a $129,000 left from that 5-cent area rate that is available this year for these purchases. What's being proposed here this evening is capital purchases totaling $121,842. So again, just under the $129,000. But again, these are the expense items that they have requested for this fiscal year, and a strong push on personal protective equipment this year, consistent across all 7 departments. So it's my recommendation that we that council approve the list as presented.
So is anyone prepared to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Councillor Hill.
I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare approve the 2020-2021 volunteer fire department capital funding expenditures as presented.
Second.
I'll second that.
Councillor Devil, second. Any
Yes.
questions or comments on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 11.2 motion to award tender C&D site.
Yes, late last fiscal, we identified needed work at our C&D site. This was vetted through our engineer that oversees the ongoing maintenance of the site. At the time, we went through an RFP process where we received 3 bids, all qualified bids. Unfortunately, we ran out of time to do it last fiscal, so that project, we carried over an amount in this year's capital budget specifically for that. So it's the recommendation of staff that we award the contract for the maintenance work at the C&D site to Gary Bilbo Construction and Excavation in the amount of $19,400 plus HST, which is within what we had budgeted in this year's capital budget.
Is there anyone prepared to make that motion?
I can make the motion.
Councillor DeVoe,
I move that the municipality of the District of Clare award the tender for the maintenance work to the C&D site to Gary Bilbo Construction and Excavation Limited in the amount of $19,400 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital fund.
is there a seconder for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Councillor Tebow. Any discussion on the motion?
Question.
No. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay? Motion carried. 11.3, motion to set the 2020-21 low-income property tax exemption.
This is more for administrative purposes. Our operational budget, which council has already passed, did include a low-income property tax exemption, which assumed the same level as we've had for the past year, a couple of years actually. So an exemption of $300 for households earning less than $19,000 per year. So our current operating budget for 2020, 2021 has assumed roughly 50 cases this fiscal, or 50 applicants, households applying for this low-income property tax exemption. So again, this is just to formalize that, or specify clearly by a motion of council what that exemption is for this fiscal.
I have a mover.
I'd like to make the motion.
Councillor Tebow.
I move that the municipality of the District of Clare set the 2021 low-income property tax exemption amount of $300 for household earning less than $19,000 per annum.
We have a seconder.
I'll second that.
I'll second it.
I heard somebody before Danny, but I'm not sure. Was it Councillor
Yeah,
Cumno
me.
or Super?
It was me.
It was Neil, okay. So seconded by Deputy Warden Dusa. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 11.4, motion to award tender mowing of municipal grounds.
Yes, we issued a tender some time ago. We closed on October 8th for the mowing of municipal grounds. And more specifically, those would include the municipal building, the cultural hub, the Veterans Center, the medical center, and the Metegan Library. So just to be clear, this is not the same tender as the ball fields and municipal parks. This is a separate tender. So as I mentioned, the tender itself closed on October 8th. We received 3 bids. We vetted the bids, and the recommendation from staff is to go with the low bid from M. McCullough Enterprise Limited in the amount of $3,400 plus HST per year for a period of 3 years.
Is there a mover for that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Councillor Hill.
I move that the municipality of the District of Clare award the tender for the mowing of municipal grounds to M. McCullough Enterprises Limited in the amount of $3,400 plus HST per year over the next 3 years for a total of $10,200 plus HST.
I have a seconder for the motion.
I will.
Was Councillor Potier?
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 11.5, motion to name road Thunder Lake Road.
This actually came in after the committee of the whole meeting a couple of weeks ago. It's a request to name a private road. There are two affected parcels along the road and both are owned by the same person, so it's a pretty straightforward request. The name of the road is consistent or does respect our road naming policy. And so it's the recommendation of the municipality staff and myself that we go ahead with the naming of the road as requested.
Do we have a mover?
I can make that motion.
Councillor DeVoe?
I move that the municipality of the district of Clare name the road shared by the PID 3025-3439 and 3025-2944 as follows in English: Thunder Lake Road, and in French, Chemin du Lac à Tunard.
Do we have a seconder?
I will.
Seconded by Councillor Potier. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 11.6, motion to transfer for funds from the capital reserve to gas tax fund beach access project.
Yes, just to give a bit of context, in last year on August 8th, 2019, the municipality purchased a 5.5 acre parcel of land on Max Walton Road. At the time, the thought was to purchase it as part of the beach access process, but we positioned it as a brownfield redevelopment project, which meant that we would clean up the site and we would tap into gas tax for the cost to do that, because brownfield developments are an eligible cost or an eligible category, if you will, under gas tax. After the motion was passed, as the deal evolved, it was less a question of brownfield redevelopment. We essentially purchased a clean site and a parking lot from the previous owner. So the previous owner assumed the cost of cleaning that site. So we were no longer talking a brownfield redevelopment. We were more talking an actual straightforward purchase of land. Unfortunately, purchases of land aren't eligible under gas tax. And this came to light as we were preparing our annual expenditure report for gas tax, which is a report that we submit annually. Both our Director of Finance and I realized that as we were finalizing the report. So we're not talking new monies. The purchase has been made. We're simply proposing that rather than use gas tax for this purchase, which is something we're not allowed to do, that we transfer the funds from our capital reserve to the gas tax to essentially correct that, not that error, but that change.
Is there a mover for that motion?
I can make the motion.
Councillor DeVoe?
I move that the municipality of the district of Clare transfer $110,000 from the capital reserve to the gas tax fund as part of the beach access project.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Hill. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary, nay. Motion carried. We'll go to 12, closed session. We have two items in closed section. 12.1, acquisition and sale of municipal property, Eco Park, and 12.2, rural internet. There will be no motions coming out of the in-camera session. For those who are watching, essentially it's two information items. So in saying that, I'd need a motion to go in camera. So,
So I'll move.
moved by Deputy Warden Dusa and seconded by
I'll second it.
Councillor Hill. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Contrary? Motion carried. So for those who are watching, good night.